Greetings, kids and nerds. I'm Lady Universe from White Nerdy, and it's time for another Lady Universe review. And yeah, if you were reading the title of this video, or if you read the title of this video before clicking on it, yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna name this video at all, but yeah, that title down there should do it. So now, without further ado, which I have reviewed two of them, it's finally time to complete the Holy Trinity of the Marvel films, of the Marvel animated series, before I check out Iron Man. At some point, I'm gonna have to get that. But yeah, I'm gonna be reviewing the X-Men anime series, which is in my opinion, probably the crowning achievement. Because when you think of the X-Men, you think of great storytelling. And this anime series is definitely one that had some great storytelling. So welcome to my review, overview, retrospective of X-Men, the anime series, or this Marvel animated series X-Men, but I'm just gonna call it X-Men the anime series. So this is my overview of the X-Men animated series, which yes is actually pretty damn decent, but in case somebody had seen it yet, spoilers are ahead, so you've been warned. We tackled the X-Men numerous times on this channel. We tackled them with the Exiles. Well, in my Marvel Top 10, I talked about how I'm a big fan of X-Men Days of Future Past. And yeah, we reviewed the Deadpool movie, so you can see just how much of a fan of the X-Men that I am. Which is kind of weird that this film picked the Joss Whedon run of the X-Men, which is probably what people are going to point out. Which, yes, actually, all in all, if you look at the DVD cover, this is the Joss Whedon X-Men team that was made popular. And if people know who Joss Whedon is, good. Other people that don't, uh, um, he's a big comic book nerd, and he wrote some good comic books like the Astonishing X-Men, and um, he wrote Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I think that's all I needed to say. But in terms of the animated series, Wolverine is the most boring. Blade was the most captivating. Like, it's a step up from Wolverine the animated series. Like, it's not better than it in any regard, but it's at least somewhat more entertaining. But X-Men is probably the one that's going to take the crown and take the crown and achievement for the team. But I think that before we go into the X-Men itself, it might be a crowning achievement to talk about the weird comic book history that surrounds the X-Men. Sorry. So, you might be thinking that the X-Men is the top tier comic book, and it is, especially being written by the beautiful and talented Gail Simone now. But the X-Men, long before Chris Claremont and John Byrne took over, the X-Men was not as popular as you think. This was even pointed out by the creator behind the X-Men, the man, the myth, the legend, the mustache, Stan the Man Lee. Because the X-Men originally at Marvel just started as nothing as a second-tier book until Chris Claremont and John Byrne redefined the X-Men and transformed them into the team that we know today. Which in fact, Stan Lee points out that both he and Jack Kirby absolutely loved the X-Men and they wished that they had more ideas with it, especially Jack Kirby, the artist behind the X-Men.
Went to my publisher. He said, "You cannot call it the Mutants. Nobody knows what a mutant is." Okay, he was the boss. So I realized they had extra power.
Yes, my fellow geeks and nerds, you heard that correctly. The amazing Stan the Man Lee originally wanted to call his project the X-Men, the Mutants. Doesn't have the same ring as X-Men, does it? You just see how the name just sticks. I mean, that was even kind of funny when I learned about that. I'm like, he really wanted to call the X-Men the Mutants. Huh. Which... Sorry. Which, of course, yes, Stan Lee is basically the man, myth, and legend that we know today, which, if he called it Teen the Mutants, wouldn't have the same ring as it did. But he goes into such great detail about transforming the X-Men into, because at the time the Bryan Singer movie was released and the sequel was being worked on, so he does go into some nice detail about how the X-Men was supposed to be a top tier comic book, but then had to be downgraded, but for very good reasons, as Sandler gets into, is that because they had so many books that they were working on, especially Jack Kirby, and the X-Men had 5 members on the team at the time, and you had a lot to write for 5 different members, including Professor Xavier, it made sense why he dropped off the book as he did. But then, like we all know, Chris Claremont and John Byrne came in, redefined them, and turned it into one of Marvel's most beloved properties all these years later. So, does X-Men the Animated Series does this very well? I would say so. But enough talk. Let's go into my review and retrospective of X-Men the Animated Series. So let's grab the Blackbird, gather our mutant powers, and defend our mutant brethren. This is my review and overview and retrospective of X-Men the Animated Series. So to me, my X-Men. The Phoenix arises in Jean Grey, destroying the X-Men as she knows them, killing them off one by one, piece by piece, destroying everything that she once knew, and saying goodbye to her loved one, saying goodbye to Scott. Everything that she has worked for, everything that she's done with Scott up to this point, no longer does matter. But the X-Men since then had just disbanded, never to come back again together, forever leaving the X-Mansion and going on with their own separate lives. That is until a new threat arises, a threat in the form of the human, powerful mutants that take out other mutant abilities and transplant them into themselves. Now, when I went back to rewatch this, since I didn't actually complete the entire anime series, when I went back and watched this, and I listened to the line, "Oh, they take out other mutant abilities and basically they put them inside themselves," I'm like, that is just immensely disturbing.
Hi there, SpongeBob. My name is Pat.
That is really disturbing.
One of my favorite X-Men villains, and really why I like him, is that he's basically like a horror movie come to life, is Mr. Sinister. And one day we're talking about them taking out, well, basically transplanting mutant organs and whatnot into themselves. I was like, this sounds a lot like Mr. Sinister. Are you certain that this is not Mr. Sinister in disguise here? And they also have involved something called the Inner Circle, which I don't know. I haven't read a bunch of X-Men comics, but I don't know if that actually does exist in this world. But something that they did end up doing, which I was like, okay, they took the villain Mastermind. Anybody that's an X-Men villain can remember Mastermind. And the series went, do you know Mastermind? Oh, you think you know Mastermind. They somehow take this weird 60s villain and went, let's make him even creepier and more powerful. And in case people are wondering, yes, I know, he did make a cameo appearance in X-Men 2. He was the kid in the wheelchair that was having a brain battle with Charles Xavier. So, yes. Also, there are a lot of Easter eggs to X-Men 2 in here. For whatever reason, especially Jean's death, as you remember, that happened at the end of X-Men 2, but also the ending of X-Men The Last Stand is when Jean Grey as the Phoenix was fighting the X-Men. So there you go. Except there is a difference between the movie and the anime series. Is that in the movie it was Wolverine that killed Jean, and the anime it was Cyclops that killed Jean. Which, by the way, if anybody is a big fan of Cyclops, this series has one of the best written Cyclops ever. You will feel for this man by the time that you're done. So, I know what you all thinking, and I know. So, you probably are expecting to see your favorite X-Men in the series. Do I tell you the truth or do I lie to you really quickly? I'm gonna tell the truth. So, let's break down who the X-Men are in this team, and I'm gonna give you the disappointing news afterwards. First up is the leader, Cyclops, which is optic energy beams. Next up is Hank or Henry McCoy, the Beast, with his super strength, agility, and his genius intellect that is a really big help towards his team. Aurora Monroe, aka Storm, with the power of weather manipulation. And by the way, I have to say something. They made Storm ridiculously fucking hot in the series. Holy shit! And they did it on purpose. They're like, we know that people like Storm, especially the Halle Berry Storm. Let's make them really thirsty for Storm. And it's like, they did this on purpose. They know what they were doing. They had an idea. They had the gall to do it. And I'm like, okay, you done good. You done damn good. Because people, especially in the X-Men in 97, they're like, Storm and that new outfit. Just kind of moment. And it's like, yeah, I haven't seen X-Men 97, but the X-Men anime Storm is just, god damn, they knew what they were doing. Now, granted, this is just an anime form, and anime always had fan service, but just, even I was like, I've always been a fan of Storm. She's one of my favorite X-Men because of how well written that she is and everything. It's like, she had to deal with basically racism because she's African American, as well as dealing with, the mutantism, or whatever they want to call it. But, just, let me have this. Just let me go horny universe for a minute here, because god damn does she look good in this series. Logan Howard, aka Wolverine, with the ability of retractable claws, heightened senses, and accelerated healing factor. As they're led by Professor Charles Xavier, aka Professor X, with the mutant ability of telepathy. And then there are 2 new members to be invited into the team, which, as I mentioned, I think were first introduced in Joss Whedon's Astonishing X-Men. There is Hisako Ishiki, aka Armor, and X-Men villain turned anti-hero, turned hero, turned professor, turned a lot of things in X-Men history, truthfully. Emma Frost, with the power of telepathy and also able to diamond harden her skin so she can attack her opponent. But the highlight of the series, aside from the X-Men themselves, is their new member, Hisako, aka Armor, who they really want you to basically pay attention to throughout this entire anime, and she is an actually great written character. There's even a moment in here where Cyclops goes beast mode on Hisako, and he's like, no, I'm gonna awaken your power, and the best way to do this is if you fight me, because I'm gonna try to kill you! Which I love the fact that they're trying to still help out mutants, they're still carrying the X-Men code with them, and that they have 2 new members upon the team too, in the form of Frost and also Armor. Now the thing with the X-Men, and the reason why I'm avoiding talking about all of them, is because you have Wolverine, Cyclops, Beast, Storm, Professor X, Emma, and Armor. You have 7 X-Men on the team, and yeah, talking about all of them is not gonna happen. But I do like that they were really focusing on every X-Men, like every single one of them gets their shining moments. And one that was my favorite was Emma's backstory, which I didn't know that she had such a traumatic backstory. It's like, wow, it's that her whole neighborhood knew that she was a mutant. They always outcasted her because she was a mutant, of course. But the one thing that I absolutely liked is that even before she was a villain, she was using her powers for nefarious purposes. Like, there was a flashback scene to when she was in high school, and she used her telepathy to mind meld, I suppose, a boy that she liked into dating her. I was like, oh, Emma took away his free will. That's just horrifying. But I actually like that she turned it around and she admitted to him, like, I'm a mutant. I use my mutant telepathy to take you over and use you. Yeah, they are admitting that Emma is an abusive relationship person. And as a guy that's been in abusive relationships, even for Emma and the guy both, I'm like, that is just hurtful. And you're talking to a guy that was used so many times in different relationships. I'm like, that just hit me right there. I'm like, Emma. Just, why would you do that? I absolutely love Hisako. She becomes the bright light behind the series. She's definitely a well-written character throughout this too. And the anime was like, how can we really tweak Hisako so people are like, we love this character? And I do too. I mean, I read the Joss Whedon Astonishing X-Men, the first volume of it back in high school. Back in, not high school, middle school. And I absolutely loved Hisako. I thought she was a great written character and everything. And I'm going to have to point out, I'm not going to point out who the villain is behind this series, but let's just say that Charles Xavier is a grower, not a shower. They also point out that Charles does have a relationship with a woman that isn't basically like him. She helps train mutants and stuff, not for humanic goals or anything, but she helps train them and help them kind of learn to adapt their abilities. And that is Dr. Sui, I forget her last name, but she is Yamaka, Yamahara, something like that. I think it's Sui Yamada, and very well done adapted character. And again, if you're a fan of Cyclops, I'm not that big of a fan of Cyclops. I know that there are thousands of diehard fans out there. This, again, I hate to be a repeater or a broken record, but this had one of the best written Cyclops ever. And especially, too, this had, for me, because I love her so much, is that this had one of the best written Storms, too. Like, you might think, that Storm's not really an impressive character. She can control the weather, like, big deal. No, this series is like, you are going to love Storm by the end of this. And now I know what people are thinking. Are there other X-Men in this? Yes! Except they only make cameos. See, look, there's Archangel saving some kids. Why is Angel in his Archangel form? I have absolutely no fucking clue, but Angel makes a cameo. And look, there's Rogue and Colossus. They're saving kids too. Why isn't Rogue with Gambit and Colossus with Kitty? I guess they're cheating on their respective partners. Really, what do you want me to say? I have no idea what's going on, but here they are making a cameo. Look, there's fan favorites of Deadpool and Nightcrawler. Why are Deadpool and Nightcrawler together? 'Cause they can both teleport. But hey, they make a cameo in this. And look, there's even Captain Britain. Anybody remember Captain Britain? No? Anybody questioning why Captain Britain is a mutant? Well, congratulations, because I'm not going to explain why he's a mutant or how he's a mutant. He just is in the comic book continuity, and so is his sister, who happens to be the mutant Psylocke. The ending episode is probably the best written and best voice acted, is that it has the X-Men trying to figure out what they have to do in order to defeat their new enemy that happens to be the leader of the Human. Screw you people, and who your favorite mutants are that did not get a cameo, because at least my boy, my precious boy, got a cameo. Also, I feel awesome because Nightcrawler is also one of Gail Simone's favorite X-Men, so we can share that love together. But I'm happy that my little baby blue boy did happen to get a cameo. So, with all that said and done, I'm even surprised that they gave Deadpool a cameo, but because of how popular that Deadpool was at the time, long before the movies, because this anime came out in 2011. Yeah, it was inevitable. So, but anyways, that was the X-Men animated series. I was trying to not spoil it too many for some people, especially with who the villain actually is. But trust me, that reveal is like, ew. That's why I made the joke that Charles Xavier is a grower, not a shower. Which, if you know what I mean by that, it's like, Charles gets around, man. He gets around, he get around, he gets around, he gets around, gets around. So, yes. the X-Men animated series is highly recommended by me. If you like the X-Men animated series of 1997, if you loved X-Men 97, the Disney Plus series, somebody can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but the Disney Plus series, then this series is for you, man. And also, if you want a great comic book recommendation, go and check out Jeff Loeb's The Exiles. It is one of the best written X-Men books I've ever read in a long time, which I'll have to at some point pick up the omnibus of Josh Whedon's Astonishing X-Men and then review that too. But anyways, yes, I'm recommended X-Men the anime series, that it is the better of the X-Men Marvel series, or Marvel anime series. Still haven't seen Iron Man yet. Well, I'll write that down at some point. But for right now, give yourself a good watch and check out the X-Men, as it is definitely a worthy contender for one of the best animes that I've seen this year. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me at Twitter. There's a link in the description down below. Everybody new to keep you on. And be sure to check out X-Men, the animated series, or the anime series. You will not be disappointed by what happens in this series. And always remember to keep you on, and let time take care. Which, come to think of it, why have I talked about something that's horror theme related? It's like something's coming up. I wouldn't worry about it too much. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do much. I want you to keep you on. And until next time, guys, please and always do take care and check out X-Men, the anime series. It's almost my time to rise once again, Lazy Universe. For Lazy Ween, it's just right around the corner.